University of Florida.
Appropriately so.
Where they know all about these things.
What they do, with good experience. We have God on our money. We say it in our Pledge of Allegiance. So what's wrong with God on a patch for the Air Force? Plenty, apparently, for one atheist group. They pressed the Air Force to remove any reference to God on one of its unit's logo. This patch once said in Latin, doing God's work with other people's money. It now says doing miracles with other people's money. Congressman Randy Forbes has a problem with this. He's among a group of Republican lawmakers trying to get the Air Force to reconsider. Sir, good morning to you, and thank you for your time.
Good morning, Bill.
You've had some strong language on this patch on screen now. You warn about a dangerous precedent. How so?
Well, Bill, it's not just me and it's not just Republican members. I represent the Congressional Prayer Caucus, about 103 members of Congress, Republicans and Democrats. And the big concern, if you look at this decision, is the first time that the Air Force has said that the very word God, even when it doesn't reference a deity, has to be banned from a legal precedent across the Air Force, which basically means that with our national motto, "In God We Trust," the Air Force is saying we couldn't use our national motto in the Air Force today.
So you're implying that all references to God could be taken out by the U.S. military? Or is that a stretch?
Bill, I'm not just implying. I'm telling you what the Air Force has told us. What they had with this patch was they've had this patch since 2003. The patch didn't even refer to a deity. It referred to their generals as a reference from God. One atheist group objected to it, and the Air Force came back and confirmed to us that from a legal basis that they had to take God out because of the word. If they would have to take it out in this situation, they would have to take it out in every situation. But, Bill, it also overlaps decisions they've had in the last 2 years where they banned any kind of ethics courses that have biblical references. They banned their commanders from telling the men and women who serve under them that there are programs that could help them in the chaplain's office. And as you remember, just a short few months ago, they banned a cadet from sending out an email just requesting that people help with a charity to get toys for children at Christmas because it had a faith component to that.
Well,
I think this is troubling.
Where do you believe this is coming from, sir?
Well, we know where it's coming from. There's a small group of people in the United States, anti-faith groups, and they've declared war on faith and religious liberty and freedom across the country.
But the Air Force doesn't have to listen to them, does it?
But unfortunately, they've been capitulating to them, and the administration has been. It's not just the Air Force. As you know, in the last couple of weeks, the Army's even censored or banned their chaplains from talking about the HHS ruling regarding contraceptives and going to the fundamental core of some religious beliefs. In addition to that, the Federal Reserve last year tried to get a private bank to remove Merry Christmas from that bank that they've had in there for years. What we see is a capitulation to a small group of people and an attempt to not trample on their desires. We're literally trampling on the constitutional rights of the vast majority of Americans.
You read a letter to the Air Force. Did you hear back?
They have not contacted us. The facts that we have, we got from confirmation by talking to the Air Force directly. They have confirmed the facts that we've said, but we haven't gotten any response to our letter yet.
Does that surprise you?
Doesn't surprise me. I think ultimately we'll get those responses, whether we have to get them in hearings or wherever else we have to get them. But we're not going to just step back and let these First Amendment rights, the religious freedom and religious liberty issues, be trampled on by the services the way they seem to be doing recently.
I also want to let our viewers know you introduced a piece of legislation, I should say, to get the national motto to read "In God We Trust." That was what you did just recently. And no atheists in a foxhole, sir. We'll see whether or not you get an answer from the Air Force and whether or not that is acceptable. Randy Forbes is a Republican out of Virginia. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay, Martha.
Well, it's a school where you can get a morning after pill